show you how to make two different kinds of pico. So we're going to make a tomato pico, and then we're also going to make a pico with tomatillos. So I love pico, especially fresh pico. I actually prefer it over a salsa. And my husband is always making pico. So we eat a lot of tacos and enchiladas and burritos in our house. So we usually always have pico. It's kind of a staple. So we're going to start with our tomato pico, and I'm making small batches, so you can make a bigger batch if you choose to. So we're going to just rinse our tomatoes off. I'm going to set this aside. So first off, we're just going to slice our tomatoes. So I'm just going to cut the ends off. And yes, let's go this way. So we don't want huge chunks. So just cut them about a ½ inch thick. And I'm just slicing them. Once you get to the end, you need to be careful. So always just turn it around because your knife could slide, especially if your knife is not very sharp. So, and then I'm just gonna take these and just stack them and run it through. Bowl, so I'm just going to start adding these to the bowl. And we're going to toss that little end piece. Now I'm going to use a red onion for this. I just like red onion, so I think it goes really well. This is a fairly small red onion, so I'm just going to start with half and see. So I just cut it in half. If you see how I just cut it in half, and then I'm just going to lay it on its side, and that way when I slice it, I've got like half rings. This will make it easy to dice up. And then again, I'm going to flip it around just like that. So I'm just going to stack some of these on top of each other and just run my knife around like so. Just add that to our bowl of tomatoes. So you can see it's filling up. Now we're going to use some jalapenos, and my husband just grabbed these out of the garden this morning, so these are really small. So if you're getting your jalapenos at a grocery store where they're like mumbo jumbo, just one is all you'll need. So, and these are a little bit on the strong side, or at least the ones that I chopped up the other day were. So you could wear gloves if you do not feel comfortable at cutting these up and getting the pepper juice on your fingers, or not. So I'm going to cut out the seeds and this little kind of membrane. There's a lot of heat in all of this, so if you like really spicy, you can just leave it all in. That's okay. So, and if you don't like a lot of heat, then you could just go with a partial jalapeno, and then you could always add like some bell pepper. I would say you could add poblano, but I've had some really hot poblanos before, so that's not really a good a good one there. So, all right, so just lay that over there. Now for the jalapenos, I don't like big chunks of jalapenos in my pico. So I'm going to, you can see how thin I've got them sliced. So they're really thin. So just as you're going, just make them super thin, like so. And then we're gonna go back. So you can see that it's fairly fine, very small dice, so not quite minced, but pretty close. Now, if you felt like that was too big still, then you could just kind of pile it up and then just run your knife through it again, just to chop it up even more. So you can see we're building our pico. All right, so our next ingredient, we're going to use some cilantro. Now, cilantro is one of those ingredients, you either love it or you hate it. I like it. My husband, he likes it okay, but not large amounts. So you can do this a couple ways. You can pinch all of the leaves off, like so. Or if you had a big bunch, you could bunch them up and just kind of scrape them like so. This works okay. I find that I wind up going through and having to get more stems out than if I just pinched them all off individually. So, but whatever way you find works best for you. So. See, it's not always the best. We'll just say it's messy. All right, so we're just gonna pile our cilantro up. And we're just gonna run our knife through it. Just gonna pile it up again. Just like that. And we're just gonna add it there. And then our next ingredient are some limes. Now you could squeeze these by hand, although sometimes I find that limes are a little harder to squeeze, or you can use a reamer that works great. So I find it makes very quick work of it. All right, and then we're going to add some salt, and you're going to want to be somewhat liberal with the salt. Let's go back in there. Everything's jumping out. There you go. And there is our tomato pico. So let's give it a taste and see if it needs any more salt. Maybe just a little bit, but not much. All right, we're just going to set this aside. You'll want to just pop this into the refrigerator for, 20-30 minutes while you get the rest of your dish together before you serve it, just so it really gets in there. So let's set that aside and clean our board, and I'll show you how to make the other pico. So we're going to use tomatillos. They are in the nightshade family. These are traditionally used in a lot of Hispanic cooking. So when you're looking for them in the store, when you feel them, you want to make sure that they feel firm. So if you grab one up and it's not firm, it's mushy, then you might want to just leave that one. So you want firm tomatillos. So just peel the little husks off. Now sometimes you'll find them where the husks feel really dry and they're kind of stuck because these do have a sticky residue on them, and that's just how they are. So these are fairly fresh ones because the husks are still pliable. They're not stuck to them. So we're going to give these a good rinse. We make more green salsa or green pico than we do tomato pico. So we're just going to flip these over and just slice them like we did the tomatoes. And we're just going to stack these up. Make sure they all got cut. There we go. So we've got our yellow onion added, cilantro, and then now we're just going to put in some limes. I've added some jalapeno, so just like I did for the tomato pico. the same process. And then we're just going to add some salt. Go fairly liberal. All right, and that is our green pico. So we've got tomato with red onion, jalapeno, cilantro, and then we've got the green with the tomatillos, jalapeno, cilantro, and the yellow onion. Now, if you're making a dish like a pasta dish or something that's really heavy and you want something a little fresh, I like to make a tomato pico, but instead of the lime and the cilantro, I'll replace that with lemon and fresh basil. So that makes a nice fresh addition to like a lasagna or another heavy pasta dish that has a lot of cheese in it, and you really need something to kind of cut through all of that. So that's a really good way to make this as well. So just cool these in the fridge for about 30 minutes and you're ready to dip a chip.